Dhalsim is a video game character in the Street Fighter fighting game series who made his debut in the original Street Fighter II as one of the Kamiya Euro's 8 main characters. In his backstory, Dhalsim is depicted as an Indian yogi, a husband and father, and a pacifist who goes against his beliefs by entering the World Warrior tournament to raise money for his village. He later appears in subsequent installments of the Street Fighter series, including Street Fighter Alpha 3, Street Fighter 4, X-Men vs. Street Fighter and Marvel's Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. Appearances in video games. In his ending, Dhalsim wins the tournament and returns home on his elephant Kodal. 3 years later, Dhalsim's son, Datta, discovers a photograph of his father from the tournament. From the original Street Fighter II and up until Super Street Fighter II, this ending graphic was drawn in a comical style. In Super Street Fighter II Turbo, it was changed to a more realistic style, with Dhalsim's wife and son, Sari and Datta, respectively, added to it. Dhalsim would later appear in the Street Fighter Alpha sub-series in Street Fighter Alpha 2 and Street Fighter Alpha 3. In his storyline in the Alpha games, Dhalsim attempts to hunt down an evil spirit that is threatening the world. Dhalsim also appears in the Street Fighter X sub-series, beginning with the console-exclusive version, Street Fighter X Plus Alpha, followed by Street Fighter EX2 and Street Fighter EX3. His characterization and motivation are the same as they are in the previous Street Fighter game. Dhalsim later appears in Street Fighter 4, and has also appeared as a playable character in several crossover fighting games, which include X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel's Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Capcom vs. SNK, Capcom vs. SNK 2, SNK vs. Capcom, SVC Chaos and Street Fighter X Tekken. Character design: Dhalsim is often depicted as having pupil-less eyes. His build is that of a normal man who exercises and weight trains regularly except for his abdomen and waist, which appear much out of proportion and emaciated. He wears torn saffron shorts as his only clothing attire, as well as saffron wristbands and ankle bands. He has 3 colored stripes adorning his head, and in the Street Fighter Alpha series, he wears a turban, that he removes before battle. His fighting style is a yoga-based style, in which Dhalsim can stretch his arms, legs, abdomen and even his neck to great lengths, making him a decent long-range hand-to-hand fighter. He also uses many fire-based attacks such as Yoga Fire, Yoga Flame and Yoga Blast, the latter being an anti-air technique. His super move in the Street Fighter X crossover and later Alpha series was the Yoga Inferno, which was basically a multi-hitting flamethrower-style attack that could be directed manually. Dhalsim also uses a teleportation technique known as the Yoga Teleport. In Street Fighter EX3, he gains a tag team super move when paired with Blanka. In Street Fighter 4 he uses the ultra combo move Yoga Catastrophe, as a large fireball which slowly moves toward and deals multi-damage on impact on any opponent, before using a super, Yoga Inferno. In other media: in the Street Fighter 2V, the UDON comic book series, and Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, Dhalsim is a wise and powerful mystic who has mastered the inner mysteries of yoga. In the comic, he helps prepare Sagat for his bout with Ryu and helps Ryu himself discover the darkness within his soul. Later on he is given an invitation to M. Bison's Street Fighter II Global Fighting Tournament, wherein he defeats Adorn in the preliminaries with ease. In the anime series Street Fighter 2V, Dhalsim is a monk who lives in a remote village in India. Sagat had earlier instructed Ryu to seek Dhalsim for advice about the ways of Hado. Sagat had been turned down years before when he sought Dhalsim's wisdom, but had figured that Ryu might be found more worthy. Dhalsim is a practitioner of yoga and has some psychic abilities, and although he knows much about Hado, he was unable to train Ryu to use the Hadouken, which was inadvertently triggered in Ryu's body during a lesson. Dhalsim is voiced by Shazza Izuka in the Japanese version and Steve Bloom in the English dub. Dhalsim has a brief appearance in Street Fighter II, the animated movie, where he fights E. Honda in India, but the match is withdrawn when Dhalsim cannot fight because he feels another power among us. Dhalsim was portrayed by Roshan Seth in 1994's live-action film Street Fighter. In the movie, Dhalsim was changed from a fighter to a meek doctor working on a super soldier experiment for Bison. His science was originally supposed to promote peace, but Bison corrupted it to serve perversion instead. In the end, he decided to remain in Bison's base alongside with Blanca to await its destruction, uttering the last words, "If good men do nothing, that is evil enough." Dhalsim is later featured in the Street Fighter animated series as part of Guile's team. From the original roster of Street Fighter II characters featured in the film, Dhalsim and T-Hawk are the only ones who do not appear as playable characters in the video game based on the film, Street Fighter. The opposite situation occurs with Akuma, who is a secret character in the game but does not appear in the film. Reception: in 1992, Dhalsim ranked at number 5 in the list of best characters of 1991 by the Gamist magazine in Japan. IGN ranked Dhalsim at number 8 in their list of top Street Fighter characters, noting his unique gameplay and role as a popular oddball. The Guardian ranked him as the 15th top Street Fighter character in 2010, with writer Ryan Hart saying his abilities to extend his limbs changed the way you see fighting game characters. He additionally placed number 14 on Game Daily's list top Street Fighter characters of all time. He was also included in their list of the top 25 boldies by Game Daily. In 2013, Complex placed Dhalsim third in a list of 12 old-school video game characters who were style icons. Topless Robot named him one of the most ridiculously stereotyped fighting game characters, calling him the most outlandish of Street Fighter Euro's cast, and drew comparisons to the Indian assassin in the film Master of the Flying Guillotine. The satirical book A Practical Guide to Racism implicitly criticizes his portrayal as a sum of negative stereotypes of South Asians, where Hindus are portrayed as non-violent, magical, fastidious, stretchy, and pugnacious. The book Game Design Perspectives notes Dhalsim as an example of a nemesis character in video games, one difficult to master proper usage of but widely considered one of the strongest characters in the game as well. Dhalsim's signature attack, Yoga Fire, was used by a fictionalized version of Mohandas Gandhi at the beginning of Gandhi vs. Martin Luther King Jr., the 14th episode of the second season of Epic Rap Battles of History, a YouTube musical comedy series that depicts historical figures engaged in rap battles. References